Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are so excited that you have joined us today for our Smarter Start Boot Camp. This is Co-working Live with Red Worldwide, and I'm Patience Rose, your host for the day. And we are just ecstatic that you joined us. We have something really special planned for today. And for those of you who are starting a business, restarting a business, upgrading your business, or doing any of those such things, I want you to know that it's very, very important that you have some plan for compliance. And so we've been talking a little bit about the things that you need to do to start, and we put some things in place. We gave away some tools last week. And, if you can go to our YouTube channel, those of you who are on Zoom today, or those of you who are coming to watch this later in a couple of different places, on our YouTube channel, we have an actual podcast playlist. And in that playlist, you have the ability to see all of the episodes, and you can go through and see the episodes that are from the Smarter Start Bootcamp. And so the episodes in the Smarter Start Bootcamp are just a little bit different than what we do every other day, because we are completely focused on the things that a person would need to have, to start their business, to keep their business in compliance. We give out all kinds of tools. A few Saturdays ago, we gave out the operating agreement sample, or example, what we call it, our template. For the single member, we will be giving out the multi-member, and we've given out meeting templates for people who are having meetings with their prospective parties, their board. We have given out all of these things, and we're going to continue to do that because we want to make sure that you're running your companies in a way that is proper and efficient. And so just like we talk about standard operating procedures, policies and procedures, I think we did a session where we actually went through and showed you, where you could do the policy procedures online, generate your own based on what it is that you need to do in your company. You could do terms and conditions, by just putting in a few things that are specific to your business, and the privacy policy and terms and conditions generator would generate yours for you, and you could either print them out or put them on your website. Well, we're going to be continuing to do things like that because they're very, very important to your companies. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk tax. And tax is really important because all of us have to deal with it. It doesn't matter whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, you have to deal with tax. And so for that reason, to be in compliance, even though you may not have to fill out the same tax forms, there are some things that are, pretty much common to a lot of businesses. And today we're going to mainly focus on our for-profit entities, or, entities that are in business already as a for-profit. Because those of you who are new, you don't have the same kind of compliance rules, that you have to be thinking about this year, but you might be thinking about it next year. So it's very important for you to look and see what it is that we're going to bring to you today, because I think that that would help you to prepare. So we also have it's not really a cheat sheet, but it's more like a checklist, okay, or a diagram that will help you to put some things in place, and really have the ability to see what it is that you need to be doing with regards to organizing your life when it comes to tax, okay? And that is a whole organization strategy. I have to tell you that because some people don't realize that it is, but it is. It's a strategy for making sure that you have things in place that are needed, and that you don't have to go hunting for things to give to your tax professional. Or even if you're doing your tax yourself, you don't want to be in a situation where you've got to find stuff. You want to be in a position where things are already laid out for you and they're easy for you to find. So we're going to look at that that today? What does that look like for you? And so I'm going to share my screen and make sure that you can see our slides today so that it's easy. Some of you guys may have already attended the seminar that I did where I shared some things, and that is very good because then now you have kind of the basis or some foundational things that are really important to help you with what we're going to talk about today. So give me just a second to share. And as I do that, you'll be able to have before you what we are going to be seeing. So I want to make sure that everybody can see the slides appropriately. And if you can see and you're live with me here, in the Zoom room, kind of go ahead and give me a thumbs up just so that I can make sure that all people are seeing everything that's supposed to be seen today. Okay. All right, so it looks like we're good. All right, today we're going to be talking about conquering filing fears with smart tax solutions. And so it was really funny that we really decided to go ahead and do this today, only because yesterday there were some things that came up and someone said, we can do that? Is that a real thing? It's like, yes, we can do that. It's legal. It's in the tax code. And I actually showed them where it was in a tax code. And they were like, oh, wow. So, it's important that people are able to see, what it is that is, not just a part of our rights or a part of things that are appropriate depending on the kind of business you have, but also where you can find it so that if you are taking advantage of these strategies, where to look. Okay, so this is really, really important. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and really break some of this stuff down today. Okay, well, we want to just share some stats with you. There are 33% of Americans who procrastinate doing their taxes and they wait until the last minute, and so it makes it difficult for them to really look at whether there are things that they could take advantage of because they wait till the last minute. And a lot of times they don't know things that have changed and they can't take advantage of some of the really good strategies that could help them. 15% of taxes are associated with non-compliance, including not filing on time. I have talked to more people this year that talked about the fact that they hadn't filed in 2 years or they haven't filed in a year, and some of them didn't get an extension, and so now they're concerned. And there's a lot of negative feelings. If we jump down here to the 56% of Americans have a negative reaction to doing their income taxes. They really feel some way about it, and 69% of Americans are expecting a tax refund, but they're anxious about it because they don't really know if it's going to happen. Did I do it right? Or, did the H&R Block really get me everything or whatever the situation is? And so we want to really kind of help you understand a few things. What is tax anyway? Well, tax is a charge imposed by authority or on persons or property for public purposes. Really, taxes are designed, to put a regular amount of money in the budget so that certain things can be taken care of, efficiently. And so when you're looking at, the concept of tax, and I'm saying this not just because I'm a tax professional, I'm saying this because this is what the design was. Now, whether or not I'm not going to get into what your politics are about it, whether you feel like the tax law was repealed in 1954 or whatever your thing is, I'm just saying to you today that this is what tax is. And if you are going to be in compliance because you have a business and you filed in a state that requires certain types of tax forms to be filled out, or if you are in the United States of America and you have some entity or you are in a position where you have to file because of the regulatory laws that are there with regards to your specific situation. This is what tax is, and this is how it works. Okay, that's what we're talking about today. So it really is just the ability for funds to be put away so that certain things can be taken care of. And some of those things do include you later on in your life. So I want you to be thinking about that because there are things that are involved in the tax law that are there to assist you, you know, and that you can take advantage of. And there's some things that are specifically available to you if you have a business that we're going to kind of, you know, clear up in a few weeks. But today we're just going to talk about a few things. So some smart tax solutions, and this is again, you putting together everything that you need to have so that you can have the smart start for your tax scenario every year. So you want to start by scheduling a weekly 15-minute review with yourself to organize your tax documents and financial records. Literally, if you put things together from the very beginning, and if you're part of the Red membership, or if you have, you know, made yourself a part of Precision Tax Advantage, you know, which is what we offer here, you have the ability to do what we call our whiteboard sessions. We have also a couple of other advisory sessions that we will do with you for free to help you put things together so that the smart tax solution number one, scheduling the weekly 15-minute review with yourself to organize your tax documents and financial records, will work for you. It works for you when you have other things in place, and then now you can just take the 15 minutes every week to say, okay, did I put this together over here? Is this together over there? And it really does make it easy for you when you have things in order, so that you're not having to think about where is this, where is that, or for that matter, you know, will I be able to just hand things off to the person that's assisting me with my taxes this year? Okay, so keep it simple. You know, you start by creating a dedicated folder, either digital or physical or both. Sometimes we may need a hard copy. So, you know, we've started doing some things like we had to go completely online for certain things because we travel a lot to work with our clients. And I need to make sure that I have certain things in the cloud that I can access. We use this particular strategy because we were a NexusLexis company for so many years, where we had to go through a compliance audit with them, and they helped us to understand how to stay compliant in our business when we're helping customers or clients, how we had a triple locking system in our office. What that means is that we had one door that we entered into in the office, and then or to get into the office, and then another door that we had to go through to get into our inner office where we actually did business, and our clients' files were kept in a file cabinet that had a lock on it. Now, some people transition from the locking file cabinet system inside of their office to completely digital, and that's great because they went to the cloud, and some of them have, you know, government graded encryption on things, and some people are even trying to get their stuff into the blockchain, and I think all of that is amazing. But if you are in certain types of businesses, and you, especially if you have, you know, people working for you, that you have to keep access to their documents handy, so that if Homeland Security shows up or anyone else shows up needing, the Department of Labor needing access to documents of your employees, you should be able to produce those documents within a short period of time. That is a compliance issue when you have everything online and you can't get to it because you don't have access to the computers. You can't print it out because you don't have a printer, you know, because a lot of people have moved to that too, where there's no printer in the office. I mean, yeah, so just saying, because of the personal reduction in paper act in your office, you might not have some of these things available to you. You might be running your entire office off of a tablet that doesn't actually connect to the printer. So what I'm sharing with you now is going to be really, really important. You need to actually have some physical files somewhere in a locking file cabinet behind a locked door, that if the situation happens to you where someone does show up and ask you to produce certain documents, you can pull them out. Some of those documents you might want to have in this dedicated folder, and this is not just for tax, this is for your company, period, is a copy of the articles of organization, articles of incorporation, your last, maybe your last tax filing. Some things that you might also want to be thinking about is keeping, you know, maybe a copy of, you know, some rudimentary stuff like the EIN number. You know, I mean, in a locked file cabinet inside of a folder that makes it easy for you to go pick it up and have access to it. Now, yes, you could probably produce it very easily online and show someone that document. But if they need to see a paper copy or they need a copy, you want to be able to grant that, because there are some really specific reasons as to why something like that might be needed. I have told this story many times about how we got hacked and there were some compromised documents, and I needed a hard copy to prove who I was, to prove what our company was doing at the time, and to prove also that the bad actors were not us. Okay. So, I mean, thankfully, thank God the people at the bank called us, because we would never have known what was going on at the bank level, and that somebody was using all of our information in New York, okay, when we were in Texas. So I'm saying to you that this is a real thing. I have another client that someone had a very similar name. I mean, it was almost exactly the same as theirs. And that other person was being, investigated. They were in a lawsuit for a wrongful death situation. And I am telling you, this is something you need to be thinking about, because it may never happen to you, but it might. So keeping access to your documents is really important, because we were able to quickly prove, that it wasn't him. And because of what we had access to at that time, I could quickly write the letter, put everything together, send him what he needed, and give, a hard copy if necessary to someone, so they could stop pursuing him and his wife as a result of something that happened by someone else that just had the same last name and had a similar business name. So I'm sharing this with you because this is a real thing. It does happen. Keep it simple. Start by keeping a dedicated folder, either digital or physical or both. Some documents need to be kept in the physical for the current tax year's documents. Okay. And that does include all of the things that proves who your company is. Then support your simplicity. How do you do that? Well, create categories to assist an organization, of your folders, and color code things, mark them for easy identification, because it does make it easy when you're able to, just go and say, oh, I need the pink folder, or, oh, I need the yellow folder, and I'm telling you, this is an old practice, but let me just tell you how easy this is for us. When my mother was in the position of being an executive secretary, and I was having to go to work with her and learn all about what she was doing. She had been in advertising for many, many years. And then, of course, she transitioned from that to doing other work alongside of that. And she was teaching me some things. She used to put inside the file cabinet on the inner side of how the file cabinet was structured at that time. They had, some of the larger drawers at the bottom, and then they had smaller drawers at the top. And so she had just a little bitty piece of paper that was typed out with everything with regards to her filing system, so that if she were not here for whatever reason. And at one point, she did reach an untimely demise. And when she did, it was so easy for people to go into that filing system and see what things were, what was in that drawer, what was in the next drawer, what was in the drawer below that, where things were kept, and what the codes were for those particular files. And it was just so amazing. You can do the same thing digitally, and I don't know if you know this, but for most people who are using Windows or a Mac, okay, I'm not sure if it works the same way for Linux, but you can actually label your files on your desktop if you're going to use files on the desktop, or if you have your files inside of another file folder. My husband and I just talked about this day before yesterday, where we, have been instituting a certain filing system that at the end of the day, we might have things all over the desktop while we're working during the day. But by the end of the day, we're putting things in the file folders that are on the desktop so that there's nothing left. And if something needs to go to the next day, we even have a folder for that. So on my computer, I have something that's called the put away file. That means that if I have things that for whatever reason I cannot put it away right at the end of the day, and I needed to go to the next day, I just take everything that I don't have a place for yet, I haven't created a filing system for it yet, and put that in the put away file. And then I go in the put away file when I start my day, and I look at, okay, this was undone, this was undone. Let me put this back on the desktop, because I need to make sure that I get those things taken care of. But the other things that are in the put away file, that were there from the previous day, it helps to be, organized, because now I can say, oh, these things were supposed to go in this file folder or this file folder. I'm currently taking two different master's programs, and in one of the master's program that I'm in, I, have my filing system a certain way inside of there because I need to know what are my assignments that are due this week. And then the other one, because the class is done a little bit differently, and we keep some of those things online in an LMS, the learning management system, I'm able to just put like my completed work or things that I'm actually working on inside of the folder and not in a folder. And then everything else that's completed goes in the folder, with that particular class. And so it just kind of makes sense to keep me organized. So creating categories to assist in organization, organizing the folders the way that they need to, and color coding them or marking them for easy identification is really, really important. And for those of you who see my grammatical error, yes, I know it's there. Just saw that. Thank you. All right. Okay. So now, I want you to think about identifying all potential tax deductions and credits applicable to your situation. This particular graphic here is actually a giveaway that we have, that if you would like to have it, let me know. We'll send it out to you if you just put your information in the chat, because we see it's kind of a snapshot of it, but we did create a tax filing checklist, and that tax filing checklist actually has a graphical view where you can see, things categorized by color, so it really does. I love it because it's a great document, but you want to identify all potential tax deductions and credits applicable to your situation. And if you have this checklist, it will help you to kind of look at some of those specifics, so you can see, oh, okay, if you're a business owner, the specific forms and that you'll have to fill out are here, and some of your tax deductions and credits are over here. And so you want to take a look at this because I think it's really good. I see you, Gloria, putting your name in the chat. I'm going to make sure you get it. But use the checklist from a reputable source to ensure you don't miss out on any opportunities. Let me give you some reputable sources. Intuit, every single year in their blog, they will post lots of wonderful information. If something changed and there's some new laws that can help you, as a business owner. I see you, Crystal. Thank you. I'll make sure you get that as well. If you are going to their website and you're reading their blog, there's lots of really, really good information on there. But I want to, take you back to one really good resource that a lot of people don't realize is a good resource. So let me just kind of go there right quick, because we did this the other day in one of our other classes, and people did not realize that there's a whole university on the IRS website, and they don't know that the IRS has classes that you can take for free already set up in here. So let me just give you an example. If you are a charity and nonprofit, okay, and I'll use this one as an example because it's easy to get to. It's already, right at the top, charities and nonprofit there. You can go to the charities and nonprofit website, and if you just scroll down, okay, you can see all of the information that they, put in the right there for your use right away, right? And so you can see, wow, this is a lot of great information, for charities. You can look there to see the exempt organization types and the life cycle of an exempt organization, annual filing and forms. All of this information is here. And if you click on education sessions, it's going to take you to their entire education library for nonprofits. There's so much good information here. So here you have the webinars that they have, the virtual workshops, their national tax forms, where you can physically go to a live session that's put on by the IRS and some other entity, in your area. And then you can request some educational services where you can have people come and speak at some of your entities functions that you might have, and then they have the national tax forms online. So you have this information not just for nonprofits, but it's also there for profits. Let's look up the LLC. Let me show you. Okay. So here they even break it down for you. If you're a single member limited liability company, you can click here, and there's a litany of things that you can actually see right here. And if you want to get the education for the LLC, the limited liability company, you can actually go over here and look at some of the related topics, look at the forms and publications. But then as you are scrolling down here, you click on online learning. When you get here, they'll tell you what's right now. It's temporarily down, but the IRS video portal, when it's up and working the way it's supposed to, is an extremely good place for you to go to learn about all types of things with regards to the LLC. So there's a wonderful, wonderful learning center also here for the SBA. There's a whole place for you to learn about understanding taxes. I mean, and it's not just, basic stuff. I mean, they have some really good, information that's here, their Link and Learn Taxes website is there, and it'll take you to the Link and Learn where you can actually click and go to webinars and videos and PDFs that you can download, and there are course descriptions that explain to you for each course what you're going to learn before you learn it. And I am explaining this to you because I want you to understand that a lot of people didn't know this was there, but it actually is there. So if you're trying to learn about taxes and how to keep yourself compliant, why not go to the source? Okay. And, and I want to tell you this is this way for other states as well. Let me give you an example. For states that actually have a state tax, you want to be able to know what it is that you can do in your state. Because remember, in some of the classes that you've been in before, I talked about the fact how the federal government has given over to every state the statutory, their requirements, the ability to create their own requirements for getting tax, okay, collecting tax, I should say, and keeping up with the taxes, or for that matter, the commercial code in that state is, governed by the state. It's a statutory thing. So for that reason, the states are going to also have the ability for you to see, how these things work. So when you go to, this is California, BizFile Online, you can actually not just file and learn about the forms and things of that nature, but you can go to the information and resources area here. And when you go to this part of the website, it's going to take you to, all types of educational material. Okay. So here it's, you can actually go to the Business Programs Division virtual workshop for nonprofit corporations. Here you can do the Business Programs Division virtual workshop on how to file a statement of information. There's just so much information here. And so, yes, we do help a lot of our members to do these things. And, we don't charge them for these particular services. But I am saying that you need to know as a business owner how to do it yourself. So by going to your state's website, there is a whole education section for each state on their site telling you what it is that you need to know about how to do things and what these things mean and where you can how much they cost. I never will forget, just not that long ago, we had a person who was coming to us for services, and they were so frustrated because they had paid someone to get an EIN number. And they came to us and we told them, well, okay, getting an EIN number doesn't cost anything. Well, they charged me $199. They said that's what it costs. Well, that may have been their service fee for them going to the IRS website and doing something that you could have done for free, And so they were like, I could have done it. I thought that you could only do it if you were a consultant or if you had this kind of company, or you had to be a CPA to get an EIN number. And I'm like, no, ma'am, no, sir. It's not something that works that way. And I took them right to the IRS's website. And I showed them on the front page of the IRS's website, it says, apply for an employer identification number, an ID number. When you click on it, they explain to you what your eligibility is. They tell you when they will accept your file online. They tell you who the responsibility parties are, or responsible parties are, and how many you can get a day. And they go into all of this information right here on their site. And then there's a nice blue button that says, apply online now. And when you go there, there's not any place, and of course, it's not open today on Saturdays, but every other day of the week during the hours of operation, you can come back and actually get the EIN number. During the days when it's not available, you'll get this particular screen. But I want you to see that when you come here, you can click there and there's nothing that asks you to pay a dime. It is not a paid service for the IRS. And so for that reason, you need to be aware that sometimes people are charging you a service fee because they're doing it for you, not because that's what it costs. So with that said, if you go to the websites, a lot of times the state or the federal government will give you the information letting you know this is a free service. And if it's not free, they'll tell you there's a fee. And then they'll tell you where to get the fee sheet or where to get the credit card, sheet if you have to file it by fax and use the credit card, payment process. Or if you want to pay by check, they'll tell you where to mail it. These are all things that you need to be aware of. I'm going to look at one other state because I want you to see Arizona. Actually, we'll look at two. We'll look at Arizona. We'll look at Florida. So here on the Arizona's website, the state website, you have, several things at the top, but in this middle section, generally speaking, most states are going to have the most pertinent information. And you have the ability to click and get access right away to what it is that you're looking for. Okay. And so you can reserve an entity name or start a new business, and they give you the education right there to explain to you what to do. And if you need more help, you're able to most of the time click and go to another section on the website that will tell you more information. Okay. So it gives you all of the information on, how to do it. Some general, frequently asked questions will always be available on most of these websites. Okay, we're going to go to Sunbiz right quick because Sunbiz is the website for Florida. And so just so you can kind of see that, similarities for most of these states are there, so when you get to Sunbiz, you have the Division of Corporations, and their website is pretty much the same as California: filing services, resources, popular tasks. In the middle, the resources are here, and they have the education side of what they do here: start a business, subpoenas, exemption, and public records requests. All of this information that kind of gives you the ability to understand what you need to do, to not just be in compliance, but to get started. Okay. And so they have a whole section here that you can read, what to do, how to decide on a corporate structure, that which is going to be entangling their commercial code and telling you what is available to you, in that state. Okay, so I wanted to make sure you saw that because I think it's really urgent that people are aware of where they can get information. Okay, but here, going back to our tax, okay, identify all potential tax deductions and credits applicable to your situation. Use the checklist from a reputable source to ensure you don't miss out on any opportunities. Where can you find checklists? A lot of times you can find checklists on the state website. Sometimes you can find it on the federal website if you're looking at federal tax. And, it's right there available for you because it's a part of their education system. All right. Consequences of disorganization. And I want to talk about this a little bit because people sometimes are disorganized, and when they are, they pay a price. And so let's look at this. When you are disorganized, you sometimes end up in a situation where you can't take advantage of everything that is available to you. And so you want to make sure that you're not positioning yourself so that you don't get have the advantage, taking advantage of things that are designed for businesses, and making sure that you are in that number with people who didn't pay nearly as much tax because they used everything that was freely available to them. And then you want to audit your current document organization system for gaps and inefficiencies. Is there anything that you could be doing that you're not doing? Should you be using a tax professional have you gotten to the place of where you don't have the capability of doing what is most efficient for your company anymore? Because there are some things now that's just different than they were. You've grown too large, or don't have the time that you had before to stay abreast of the tax law. So you might look and see, am I inefficient in this area? Is this time for me to get a professional involved? Look for missing documents or receipts that could lead to misdeductions. Sometimes people are not aware that they may not be keeping up with things in a way that's going to make it easy for them to take credit for things that are deductible. So you want to make sure that you're keeping up with things, and you might have to upgrade your filing system to a system that is maybe, able to help you better categorize your documents by type and tax year. Okay, so these are some of the benefits of being organized. When you're organized, you have the ability to have more tax efficiency. Sometimes you have the ability to take advantage of things that because you got involved early enough in the tax year, you have advantages that you can look at, maybe tax credits, or you can do a little bit better tax planning. So when you're organized, you also can see if there's something that's going on that you can actually, stop the bleeding, okay, before it's, gets too bad. So you can leverage technology also to automate as much of the tax preparation process as possible. And here's some of the technologies that we recommend. Airtable. We kind of covered Airtable in one of our Thursday tech solutions times. And so, when we had our Tech Talk Thursday, we talked about Airtable and went into how you can use it. And you might want to go back to our YouTube video where we talked about leveraging technology. Expensify is another really good software for being able to keep up with expenses and receipts and things of that nature. Smart Receipts, another really good software. QuickBooks, okay, if you're using QuickBooks, use the mobile version so you can take advantage of all of its wonderful tools that are in there, mileage capture, all of these things. You can really take advantage of those when you are using the softwares accordingly. And then, of course, Evernote, we've used Evernote for years. I don't use it as much right now because I'm using Airtable in the way that I was using Evernote before. But I'm just telling you that there are technologies that can really help you. If you use Xero or one of these other FreshBooks, some of these other softwares, they have the mobile versions as well that will help you to keep organized, okay? All right, so let's kind of look at some other technologies and things that can help you. Choose accounting software that integrates with your bank accounts and categorizes transactions automatically. That is going to be so, so key. QuickBooks, Xero, FreshBooks, which I mentioned, those are all softwares that can integrate with a lot of, the other softwares that you might be using, and you can actually pull things in from your bank. You can actually use the API from these softwares, and if you're using LivePlan or some other living business plan software, you can pull the information from your tax accounting right into your LivePlan and see your profitability. You can do the cash flow statements. You can actually do projections, all these wonderful things to help you run your business and help stay efficient with the information from the tax software. So I am saying to you, for bookkeeping, tax, and management accounting, use a software that actually serves you and serves you well. Create a tax calendar with all relevant deadlines, including quarterly payments, if applicable. You can use Outlook for this, Google, iCloud. If you're already using those calendars, make a private section of that calendar so that you can create for yourself the ability to see when things are due, so you're not letting things creep up on you and you don't feel so out of control when it comes to tax. Use the IRS withholding estimator tool. And I have these as well. If you want those, put your, information in there, or send us an email, advisor@redworldwide.org, admin@redworldwide.org, advisor@precisiontaxadvisors.com. Any of those emails will get you these tools. So the tax withholding estimator from the Internal Revenue Service is a real thing. And when you click here, I'm going to take you to it so you can see. It shows you how it works, Okay. And what you'll need to do this, but you can actually estimate your own tax by using the tax withholding estimator. And when you go there, you can put in the information about you, whether you're single, married, filing jointly, married, filing separately, head of household, qualifying widower. And then when you click on the thing, okay, I'm just going to put married, filing jointly so you can get an idea. Do you are, or your spouse have a job or a pension that regularly withholds federal income taxes from your paychecks or pension? Either it's yes or no. If it's yes, you're going to click yes, and it's going to actually open up another set of questions, right? And so then as you're putting all this information in, it really does give you a very good view of some potential deductions, potential tax credits, and it gives you the ability to best estimates of what you could be looking at for tax. So this here is for a person that is filing tax individually, right? And this is the tax withholding estimator for you as an individual. Now, for a person that is a business, I have a whole nother tool. So, and we're not going to be able to go over it today because I don't have enough time, but I will tell you that there are some other estimators that you can use as a business that's going to be able to not just give you, some information about your tax, but it also can give you a valuation of your company. We have right on our website, the ability for you to even get, just a quick view of what your company can look like. There's what we call the value calculator. And so if you click here and go to redworldwide.org at first, and then you can actually calculate your earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. That's one of the calculators that we have available. And we will be posting a couple of other calculators over the next week because it's tax time and we want people to have access to those. So you'll be able to do some actual estimations of tax, from here as well. So don't forget to go to the website and look at the top in the menu to see, what's available to you, and you can take advantage of these things for free. This is not at a cost. This is something that you can do to, just kind of get a view of what you could be looking at. Okay. And, with that said, I want you to be really, really clear that we are, wanting to make sure that you can conquer filing fears with smart tax solutions. We will be giving out, again, as we did a few weeks ago, some more of the things that you can take advantage of this tax season because things have changed, and there are some smarter things that you can do to take advantage of some tax credits, some tax planning that you can even do still before it's time to turn things in. But let me just say this, if you're in California, don't forget, if you have an LLC, that by March 15, you need to make sure that you are paying the $800, okay, that is due, to the Franchise Tax Board. And so don't forget that. And if you want to have the link for that, we have the link and we'll make it available to you in the chat here in Zoom because we have a continuous meeting chat that's going on. And for those of you who want to have access to that, who are on YouTube, just reach out to us. And, right there in our comments section, we'll make those things available to you as well. Well, this has been Patience Rose with the Smarter Start Bootcamp. And we are excited again for those of you who joined with us today. For those of you who are going to be with us on Monday, we talk about business structure. We have something very special planned for this Monday, so do not miss it. And if you do have to miss it, you can always get the replay online on YouTube at our YouTube channel in our podcast, which is the Co-working Live with Red Worldwide. Thank you again for being here with
Patience.
Yes, yes. Do you have a question?
Miss Gloria had a question.
Oh, sure. Um,
She said,
so,
so go ahead.
Go ahead.
She's saying, so do we have to keep both methods, original receipts and PDF files?
Okay, so for receipts, no, I wouldn't keep receipts, their physical receipts, unless you're in a situation where, you don't have a good cloud-based system that you are going to be able to have access to, okay, and on a retention schedule. So what do I mean by retention schedule? And is that you need to be able to keep these things for a period of time, because if you ever get audited, you need to be able to go and show them. So that's why I talked about Airtable, because you can have the free version of Airtable and you can have it forever and keep documents there. And then you can also keep a backup copy on a drive, okay, where you download, your spreadsheets or whatever it is that you have available, your Excel spreadsheets or your Airtable tables. You can back that up to a drive, so you have a physical, drive that you have that on, whether it's a thumb drive or something, that if you need to go back and have, I always talk about having redundancy. So redundancy is when you actually have a backup of your backup, okay? And so that will help you to make sure. But no, you don't have to keep your original receipts, in a file folder. Some of the things that we have learned about receipts is, depending on how they print the receipts out, it fades over time. And so it is so ultra important that you're taking pictures of those receipts or scanning them into something that will be a lot more secure and a lot more, something you can count on. Because if the paper fades, okay, or if it tears, you're in trouble if you don't have a picture of it. So what we have told people is we use Airtable, and nightly, my husband has the duty. This is what he's decided he wants to do. He does it nightly. I remember my suggestion that you take that 15 minutes every week. You can do it in 15 minutes most of the time, unless you're buying lots and lots and lots of stuff. But, just moving your receipts to the Airtable file that you're keeping them in, or if you're using Evernote, or if you're using iCloud, or if you're using Google Docs or Google Sheets or whatever it is, putting it in Google Drive, OneDrive, some type of drive, Dropbox, Box.net, whatever it is, putting it somewhere where you have it, so that when it's time for you to share it, you can. Now, if you're using QuickBooks, it's very easy to upload the receipts there, and they're there. If you're using Xero, same thing. If you're using FreshBooks, same thing. Expensify, Smart Receipts, all of those are places where you can upload your receipts. So I am saying to you that you can take a picture of it with your phone or with your tablet and upload it into one of those softwares, and now it's there. And some of these softwares will categorize it by date. It will actually look at the receipt and read the receipt and even put it in the right filing section for your company, and even for you personally. It'll say, okay, this is a, grocery expense. Okay, this goes over here. All right. Is this a, credit card bill? It goes over there, so it really makes it easy. And if you have the ability to connect your bank account, it will also categorize the items that you have, paid for, that are in your business bank account or physical personal bank account. When you upload that information into these softwares, they categorize it and put it under the right coding system. So this is really important, okay? Crystal, she says, that has happened to me. It only took once, for one to fade. Oh, it happened to me too, and it was a really important receipt. I had to go back to the store and get them to pull the hard copy receipt for me to have a copy of it, because something happened that I had to return an item. It wasn't for tax purposes, but I had to return an item in a place where they told me that they would not take it back unless I had a receipt. And it wasn't the store that would take it back. It was Apple that said, we need the receipt to show when you purchased this. Because even though it's showing by serial number that you should have, a warranty on it, we're not seeing it in our system. And so I'm like, oh, wow, this is crazy. So I had to go back and get the Best Buy hard copy receipt, take it to Apple, and Apple honored what they would normally honor. So I'm just saying for you that it's, for many, many reasons, a good policy to have a copy uploaded into a system somewhere where it will never fade. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, once again, this has been Patience Rose with Red Worldwide's Co-working Live on Smarter Start Bootcamp. We'll see you again next time. Thank you, ladies, for hanging in here with me, and I will make sure that you guys get what you have requested with regards to the actual diagram, as well as the our wonderful, wonderful checklist because I think it'll help you a lot. And I will see you guys on Monday. Crystal, I'll see you a little bit later today. And Gloria, if you want to set up an appointment, you can just send me a text message letting me know when your client's going to be available. Okay. All right. Thank